On last week's episode, we completed our walk through the Meseta, took a stop in the city of Lyon, and brought the holiday spirit to the Camino. Welcome to episode 9 of My Camino Diaries. Morning. It is Tuesday, June 4th. Everybody knows the day today, correct?
Now we do.
I got my companions here this morning, Sebastian.
Good morning.
And Sarah.
Guten Tag.
So we're just heading out of San Martin del Camino. You can see the sun's kind of coming out already. It's a little past 6:30. Quite a busy morning, so to speak, in the albergue in terms of people getting up. But that's all right, as long as we're able to get out during our usual time, which is good. We're good. Pretty much when you're doing the whole Camino, at least from a further point from either Saint Jean or closer to the start, you kind of get into a routine. So that's pretty much what we've done. So now we're heading to, today is Astorga, which is roughly about 23, 22 kilometers again, or 25 almost, I think. So roughly the same mileage and kilometers as yesterday, and should be good. Also to add, yesterday was actually pretty good. We all had a good relaxing afternoon at the albergue, just hanging out, drinking some sangria, playing cribbage, being in the pool. I think we all kind of needed that yesterday, just to relax and enjoy and sing Christmas songs. And you know, after the 3 weeks of walking rough terrains, it was a much needed change, just for a little bit. And hopefully we'll get more days like that in the coming 2 weeks, final 2 weeks. We're now finding ourselves in the next section of the Camino. The weather remains the same, with it being cool in the morning and hot in the afternoons. It would be a roughly 6 to 7 kilometers to our first stop. The thought of a cafe con leche, a bocadillo, or a tortilla is good enough motivation to get you going in the morning. On this particular morning, I opted for the bagel, smoked salmon, and cream cheese. Something a little different. And today would be a day another familiar face would return. And then there were 4. Barbara's come back from Lyon, and we just had our coffee break. It was delicious. I actually had a bagel with some smoked salmon on it for the first time on this trip. Wasn't too bad. Now that we've fully completed the Meseta, we are still walking through fields of wheat, barley, tall grass, but more now mixed with mountain ranges and lots of incline. At various stops throughout the Camino, you'll find little outdoor spaces, donation-based stops where pilgrims can come and get some snacks, drinks, and rest for a bit. Selections are plentiful, so do be generous when you do stop by.
Oh,
I told you, that's what I'm saying.
yeah. I was like, where did you pointed at it? And I was like,
Made it to Astorga, and wasn't too bad. This is my albergue for tonight. I got the bottom bunk and a window view. After settling into my albergue and getting my normal chores done, I opted to tour the cathedral. Took a quick pit stop back to the albergue and remembered I had a postcard to send. Then I was back to exploring. Next door to the cathedral is the Gaudi Palace, also known as the Episcopal Palace of Astorga. Named for the architect Antoni Gaudi, you may be familiar with his work of the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. Initially intended to be the residence for the bishop, over the years it has been used for many different things. Now it is a museum that you can visit. A short 10 to 15 minute walk from the cathedral and palace is a little museum, a chocolate museum. Astorga is also known for their chocolates. Astorga was one of the first cities to mass-produce chocolates in Spain and is still highly regarded to this day. The museum showcases many of the history of the chocolates, with a few factories still in operation to this day nearby. And at the end of your tour of the museum, you get some free samples. We're at the Museum of Chocolate here in Astorga. It's a cute little place. Definitely check it out. It's like a hidden gem out of nowhere, and you get a little free sample of Astorga chocolate while you're there when you leave. So check it out. Recommend it, especially if you want something different than looking at cathedrals and palaces. I wish I could have taken home a few bars of chocolate, but then that would be added weight to my pack. Met up for dinner with the rest of the gang and just enjoyed a lovely evening out. Opted for a delicious soup for the first course and the usual poutine and potatoes for the second. Have I mentioned my eyes are usually bigger than my stomach? But it's so good. Of course, we can't forget the ice cream. Good morning. It is Wednesday, June 5th. We are heading to Foncebadon today. So roughly about the same mileage again as yesterday and Monday, which is roughly 15 miles. It's a tad bit warmer, meaning it's not as chilly as previous days, which is great, but that means it's going to be hot later this afternoon. So looking forward to that. But hopefully we'll get to Foncebadon early enough where we can beat the heat and just relax for the rest of the afternoon. Got my companions today, Sebastian and Barbara, right there in front. And I think we're going to be going through some scenery today, which is great because I'm not liking the road routes, and I think everybody would agree with me on that one. Slept okay last night. The floors in my albergue are pretty old, so there's a lot of creaky footsteps going on there. And for some reason, I think there was like some guy randomly like yelling something outside our window. Anyways, that's Spain for you. So there you go. But it was okay. Got up out and early. We left a little bit after 6. Sun is kind of coming out, and you can start seeing the valley. I quite enjoy the quiet that mornings bring here. As we head to our first stop, everything was pretty okay in terms of our walking until twisted my ankle a little bit back there. It's alright. So I'm taking it a little bit slower than my companions. They're up there. But yeah, still it's not as bad. I mean, it's not bad. It'll pretty much dissipate after a bit, so let's keep on going. I think we're almost near our first stop anyway, so which is good. Just had our first coffee stop. Lovely abuela running the cafe with her husband. I had myself a cafe con leche and a tortilla, which I actually haven't had in the last 2 weeks, surprisingly. I mostly had bocadillos and tostadas. So I guess it's a good change for a tortilla today. Hoping for some a little bit more shade on this trail here, because there's nothing. Little tiny trees. Along the path between Santa Catalina and El Ganso is a tiny little stand. Here we get ourselves one of the coolest stamps on the Camino. It's a wax stamp. For Abanal del Camino, we start our ascent to the mountains, heading towards Foncebadon. Here the terrain drastically changes. It was back to the rocky terrains we experienced during the first week. But the views were awesome. Made it to Foncebadon. It's a little bit after 2 or closer to 3 p.m. now as I'm kind of settling in. Long climb up a mountain. And we're staying in an albergue that's also attached to a pizzeria. And yeah, we're looking forward to that. I think from what the owner told me, it's real Italian pizza, so... Foncebadon is a small village. It's a great place to stop for the night before heading to Cruz de Ferro. It has a handful of places to stay, places to eat, and a small store. And one of the best places to get a pizza on the Camino. I mean, you can't beat a homemade pizza and a beer after a long walk. We need the carbs, right? Before calling it a night, I prepared my stones that I will be placing on Cruz de Ferro. One for me and one for Mama J. Little did I know that tomorrow would be one of the toughest days on the Camino for me, mentally, physically, and emotionally. It is Thursday the 6th. We're still here in Foncebadon. It is about close to 6:30 in the morning. Yeah, got the field cows here behind us. Sun is coming up. And on the other side here, the gang having our morning coffee. We're just waiting for the sunrise. And it's a beautiful day right now. Today we're heading to Ponferrada, which is roughly about the same mileage as yesterday. It's about 25, 27 kilometers. 16, 17 miles. But first, the thing this morning, we are going to pass by Cruz de Ferro, which is kind of a special spot. If you remember those rocks that I brought with me from Los Angeles, this is where that comes into play.
Shortly after sunrise, we begin our walk. We make our way to the highest point of the French way, Cruz de Ferro, or the Iron Cross. It is here you will find a tall wooden post with an iron cross on top. At the base of the cross are hundreds if not thousands of rocks left by pilgrims. The rocks left there are meant to symbolize the burdens that pilgrims leave behind. You can bring one from home, which I did from Los Angeles, or get one along the way of your journey. The symbolism of this can vary widely from person to person. For me, it was an emotional release. Tears flowed with relief, and I'm happy I was able to experience this moment with Sebastian and Barbara. After our quick stop at Manjarin at the little cafe, my mood felt a little better. But little did I know, physically, that would be a whole other story. The whole walk from Foncebadon to Ponferrada is completely downhill, full of jagged rocks and mountainous terrains. Definitely be careful when you walk down this way. Just had a quick pit stop at El Acebo after climbing up that mountain, or climbing down that mountain full of rocks and more rocks. Feeling much better from this morning. Quite emotional from the Cruz de Ferro, but it's good to release. I'm really glad that I was able to share that moment with Sebastian and Barbara. It wouldn't be the same if I was alone, so it's good to have, people you care about with you. I'm gonna be honest, the descent down to Molina Seca was pretty rough, at least for me. Lots of jagged rocks and terrains. At one point I did slip. Luckily, my backpack was there to cushion the fall. It didn't help that the heat was slightly picking up that day. It was a combination of several things that day, and all I wanted to do was get to Ponferrada. Made it to Ponferrada. It's about 3:30. It's kind of warm, but there's a little bit of a breeze. Whew. The heat's really getting to me, and I just really want to get to my albergue. But yeah, just looking for it now. It's a bit of a walk, but we'll get there. Made it to my albergue, and it's ways into town, but luckily it's near enough to the route when we leave the city, so that way it should be fine. I got the top bunk once again. Don't mind the mess. I'm super tired. Apparently we did about 29 kilometers, which is more than what was estimated. So yeah, I'm gonna rest for the evening, try to make a little grocery run just to replenish the water and a few other things that I need, maybe a couple of snacks here and there. But yeah, today has been it's a little bit of a roller coaster, I guess you could say. In the morning with the Cruz de Ferro, got a bit emotional there. I think it was a good emotional, but then just getting down that mountain, all those rocky terrains, like really rocky terrains like we saw in the first and second week. Yeah, my feet are kind of used to it, but then after a while it just takes a beating over and over again, so my feet were tired, and I didn't want to spend too long in terms of our pit stops today because it was just a lot, especially with a little bit of a late start. So tomorrow, back to our normal early-ish start. Yeah, so with that, I'm just gonna rest. That's it, just rest. I opted to stay close by to El Albergue. Sebastian and I decided to eat at the restaurant below. The burger wasn't too bad. Anyway, as rough as today has been, tomorrow is a new day. And all we can do is take one step forward and make it a good one. On next week's episode, from the heat wave to the colder weather once again, we enter the region of Galicia. We walk through some torrential rains and low visibility and approach the last phase of the Camino. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.